Welcome back to my Klutzy Cupid. We are well and truly into Rinka's route now. And the last recording, we had some interesting stuff happen, and some of that I don't mean in a good way. Anyway, at lunch a few days after I invited Rinka to my house to practice her acting, I made my way to the school roof, empty-handed but full of anticipation. Because yesterday afternoon, Rinka had sent me a certain message. Oh, we're gonna get us a bento. After reading her text, I immediately replied, okay. I had purposely decided not to ask why. I highly doubted she just wanted me to starve after all. After I'd arrived on the roof, Rinka appeared soon after, carrying a large bundle. Huh. The moment our eyes met, Rinka blurted out shyly, Sitting down beside me, she unwrapped the bundle to reveal 2 lunchboxes. She then opened the lid, showing me hamburger steaks and rolled omelets inside. Ah, a woman after my own heart. Sorry about that cut there. Anyway. Oh, it looks delicious. I love hamburger steaks and rolled omelets. I don't believe I've had either of them, but the hamburger steak at least sounds good. Mind if I dig in? Rinka nervously handed me a pair of chopsticks. She watched intently as I picked up a piece of hamburger and brought it to my mouth. Oh, shit! She let out a sigh of relief. Were you that worried I wouldn't like it? Fuck your parents. Yeah, your parents are as strict as always. How'd they not know you were doing that? Why go through all this trouble then? It'd be bad if your parents were to suspect something. You've already done plenty of that, haven't you? Both at the Love Hotel and the virtual world too. The stuff in the virtual world, I think that might have been a little bit of coercion, but I digress. Of course. Sorry, just a joke. I really am happy to be able to eat your homemade cooking, though. I almost feel like putting this into a glass case and displaying it in my room. You are overreacting, sir.
もっとも親の目を盗んで作るのは大変だから、次はいつ作れるかわからないけど。
はい、なるほど。まあ、I'll just have to savor this all the more then. Okay. And so, the two of us began eating lunch together, and later that night, Sumugu had the worst food poisoning known to man. I'm just kidding. Or didn't he? Ah. This was bliss. By the way, how's the acting gig coming along?
実はね、今度の週末にオーディションを受けることが決まったの。
Huh. Really?
さらにその翌日には初めてのドラマ撮影。
Nice.
前にも言った死体役だからセリフはないんだけどね。
Yeah, maybe they'll make you come back to life as a zombie. Still, that's great. Break a leg.
ありがとう。今からすごく緊張しているわ。
I bet. That just shows how serious you are about it. You're amazing, Rinka. You're already making great progress toward your dream. You're hopping from one challenge to the next, doing all sorts of things I couldn't do even if I tried.
そんなことないわよ。紡も私にできないことをたくさんやっていると思うわ。例えば、私はこれまで自分でお金を稼いだことはないけど、紡はバイトで生活費を稼いでいるでしょ。
I guess that's true.
ちなみに、紡ってファミレスのフェアリーテイルでバイトしているのよね。今度見に行ってもいい？
Come on, you think he's gonna turn that down? You're more than welcome to, but I can't really talk with you while I'm on the job, you know.
もちろんいいわよ。紡の働いている姿を見に行くわけだし。
I don't think it'd be very interesting, but yeah, if that's what you want.
次はいつシフトに入っているの？
I have one tonight, actually.
じゃあ、今日の夕食はフェアリーテイルで食べることにするわね。
Thus, it was suddenly decided that Rinka would be visiting my workplace for a little tour. That evening, as I was working, a casually dressed Rinka entered the restaurant. Since she came all this way, I made it a point to serve her myself. Irashaimashite! Table for one.
ええ、そうよ。一人で食事するのは寂しいから、できればあなたのことを指名したいんだけど。
I'm afraid this isn't a host club, ma'am.
知っているわ。冗談よ。
She giggled, sticking out her tongue.
紡、ファミレスの制服似合ってるね。かっこいいわよ。
Arigato. To be honest, I'd love to sit down and eat together with you too.
ダメよ。ちゃんと仕事をしなさい。
Weren't you the one who just asked me to join you? I got the feeling Kinu-san would get angry at me if she saw me chatting with Rinka by the entrance like this. And then immediately toss me aside and flirt with her herself. So I quickly showed her to a seat by the window and handed her the menu. Give me a call when you decided... excuse me. Give me a call when you've decided what you'd like to order.
チーズインハンバーグセットを一つ。ソースはデミグラス。付け合わせはパンとコーンスープで。
Cheese-filled hamburger? Ugh. I don't know about that. What, did you already memorize our menu or something? Never seen someone order so perfectly.
注文に完璧なんてあるの？
Customers usually have some trouble deciding what sauce they want on their steak or forget that their set meal comes with rice and bread.
そう。店員さんって大変なのね。
Yeah, certainly doesn't seem that way I mean, gotta wait tables, you gotta serve some unruly customers. Some just full-out idiots.
私は人生の時間を1秒たりとも無駄にしないよう、メニューを見た瞬間に自分が何を食べたいか決められるよう親に訓練されているから。
We gotta get you to stop relying on your parents, sweetheart. You know, the more I hear about you, the crazier your upbringing seems to me.
食事って1日に最低でも3回はするわけで、その度に何を食べるか悩んでいたらものすごい時間の浪費になるでしょ。
Not really. Also, at least 3 meals a day? Wow.
ただでさえ人生は小さい決定を繰り返すわけだから、どうでもいいことをスパッと決めていかないとね。
I guess that makes sense. Alright, well, I've got your order. It'll be ready soon, so just sit tight.
はーい。はーい。はーい。はーい。
I like that. Leaving the strangely amused-looking Rinka behind, I went back to work. Not a moment too soon as the... Wait. Okay. As the dinner rush was just... No, hang on. Okay. Sorry about that, I had to adjust some things on OBS. Not a moment too soon as the dinner rush was just entering full swing. A little while later, I came out of the kitchen carrying a cheese-filled hamburger steak set. Locked eyes with Rinka, who was looking curiously in my direction. Thank you for waiting. Here's your cheese-filled hamburger steak set.
ありがとう。美味しそうね。
Sorry I can't really sit around and chat.
私のことは気にしなくて大丈夫よ。
Meanwhile, some guy's probably gonna sit down and start flirting with her. Isn't it kind of boring though, hanging out there here by yourself?
働いている紡を見ているだけで満足だから。
Yeah, you watched us work alright. I mean, what?
一応暇つぶし用に勉強道具を持ってきたんだけど、紡から目が離せないのよ。
All I'm doing is waiting tables though.
私頑張っている紡を見るのが好きなの。
Now that there's a woman I can get behind. It's kind of embarrassing to say it like that. But since you came all the way here, I almost wish there was some sort of trouble to liven things up.
ファミレスのバイト中に事件なんて起きるの？居酒屋とかに比べて平和なイメージなんだけど。
Oh, believe me, if Tensho gets drunk enough, I'm sure there'll be enough trouble. That's not always the case. There was this one time a customer tried to dine and dash, had to be chased down and handed over to the police. Jesus Christ. Another time, someone messed up a customer's order and the guy got so pissed he threw a cup of water in his face.
紬もその場にいたの？
No, those were both before I started working here. But apparently things like that used to happen even at this restaurant.
そうなんだ。
Shit.
でも私そういう修羅場は別に見たくないから、今の状態をキープしてもらって大丈夫よ。
Rinka said, chuckling. Seeing as Rinka genuinely seemed to be enjoying herself, I decided to get back to work. As I performed my duties, I glanced over at her table every now and then again, whatever. See how she was doing, and without fail, our eyes would meet every time. Apparently she wasn't lying when she said she couldn't take her eyes off me. Oh, Rinka. You must love me almost too much. She better not be a fucking yandere.
俺のキューピッドがポンコツすぎて怖い。
It's been about a month since Rinka signed on with that entertainment agency and began accepting auditions. Although it seemed her auditioners could often be quite critical of her performances, I was happy to hear she was still having a very fulfilling time. Indeed. I wondered how long it would be before Rinka began starring in her own dramas and movies. Couldn't wait for that to happen. I suppose it also would raise the chances of her parents finding out about her acting career, though. Yeah. As I came up from work thinking about these things, Adu suddenly came running up to me in a panic. Oh no. Huh? What are you talking about?
今日はこれからかりんちゃんの生配信がある予定だったじゃないですか。
Uh-oh. Yeah, that's why I came home early today, so I could catch it. Did she already start?
いえ、そうじゃなくて。先ほどかりんちゃんの SNS で突然諸事情により今夜の配信は中止しますっていうお知らせがあったんです。
Oh no. Why do I get the feeling one of two things happened? Either A, she's back in the hospital, or B, her parents found out about everything. And I mean everything.
しかもしばらく活動をお休みします。次の配信日は未定ですとも書いてあって。
Oh shit. NANI?! Just what on earth happened? You think she'd stop streaming after only just signing on with that entertainment agency?
つむぐさん、事情を聞いていないんですか?
Like I said, I got a few ideas. No, she hasn't told me a thing. And now that you mention it, I sent her a message before work started, but she still hasn't replied to it yet. It wasn't anything important, and I assumed she was just busy studying. So I didn't think much of it, but I looked at my phone and there still weren't any messages. New messages, excuse me. For the time being, I decided to send her a follow-up message asking if something had happened at work. Hopefully I could find out what happened. She's not going to be at school the next day again, either, is she? An hour later, however, she still hadn't replied, and the message hadn't even been marked read.
これは絶対におかしいです。電話をかけてみませんか?
You're right. Although I didn't want to bother Rinka, I made up my mind and called her anyway. But no matter how many times I let it ring, she didn't pick up. She's not answering.
何があったんでしょうか。心配ですね。
Shit. Me too. Still, the fact that she posted an update on her social media means that she has access to her phone at least. And I guess there's something we can do or nothing we can do but wait for her to contact us. Oh, tomorrow, okay. Since tomorrow is a Sunday, I wouldn't be able to see her at school either. In the end, though, I didn't hear from Rinka that day, and so I spent the rest of the night tossing and turning restlessly in my sleep. See, I'm getting flustered too. Shit. The next evening, Rinka still hadn't messaged me back. I'd constantly checked Karin-chan's social media for updates, but there were no signs of any updates. Nothing like this had ever happened since I first started following her. Could something have happened that she couldn't confide to anyone about, even to me, her boyfriend? Or perhaps...
つむぐさん、私もう我慢できません。リンカさんの家までひとっ飛びして様子を見てきます。
Don't you think that'd be an invasion of privacy, dude? Do you want to know what's going on?
何を言っているんですか。カリンちゃんがこんな状況で恋人と連絡が取れないんですよ。心配じゃないんですか？
Of course I'm worried! If I could, I'd go over to her house myself right now to check on her. However, my relationship with Rinka was supposed to be a secret from her parents. Ugh. I couldn't just show up on their doorstep asking about their daughter. But that said, if Rinka really did need my help right now, if something terrible were to happen while I was sitting here twiddling my thumbs... Okay, fine. You win, Love Miel. I want you to go fly over to Rinka's house and see how she's doing.
頼まれました。
And don't stop by the bookstore for manga. She immediately opened the window and soared off. As I sat alone in my room, waiting for her to come back, I continued clutching my phone in hopes that Rinka would respond. Rinka, please be safe.
ただいまです。
I don't like the way that voice sounded. About 30 minutes later, Love Miel returned. How'd it go?
すみません。結論から言うと、リンカさんとお会いすることはできませんでした。家の中への侵入を試みたんですが、セキュリティが強固だったため断念しました。
Yeah, that sounds about right for someone with her monetary stature.
私は天使で透明になったり空を飛べても窓やドアからでないと中に入ることができません。
You mean you can't see through walls either?
漫画みたいな壁のすり抜け能力でもあればよかったんですが。
I see. Rinka's parents were the chairman of a very large corporation, so it made sense that they had such strict security.
ただ、それでも家の周りを飛び回り、壁越しに家の中の会話を聞いたりして、情報収集をしてきました。
Okay, so that's a start.
とりあえず、リンカさんは無事のようなのですが。
Okay, that's definitely a start.
両親にスマホを取り上げられてしまって、部屋に閉じこもっているみたいです。
Yep. Had a feeling. Naruhodo. At any rate, I was simply glad to know she hadn't been in an accident or hospitalized or anything.
一体何があったんでしょうね。
How much do you want to bet that they, maybe hired a private investigator or some shit? If she'd had her phone taken away, that must mean she'd gotten into some sort of trouble with her parents. In that case... oh. Pardon me. I think we should try using the love note.
なるほど。コメントを見れば、リンカさんに何があったのかヒントがもらえるかもしれないですね。
That's the smartest thing he's ever... one of the smartest things he's ever said. Anyway, let's do it. Yeah, it's worth a shot. Retrieving the love note from inside my desk, I wrote down Rinka's name. After a few moments. Yeah, that's... Listen to her problems. The whole reason I'm stumped here is because I can't do that.
大丈夫です。ラブノートにこう出たということは、近日中に悩みを聞くチャンスが訪れるということです。
I fucking hope so. I see. Then I should be able to talk to Rinka at school tomorrow, right?
おそらくそうです。
That is if they don't let her go. I hope you're right. I felt my heart grew lighter thanks to the love note's words. The only thing I knew for sure was that something had happened to Rinka. But whatever problem she was facing, I'd be there to help her solve them. Hopefully. The next morning, upon arriving at school a little earlier than usual, I was relieved to see Rinka at her seat. Instead of studying like she always was, however, she was slumped over motionless on top of her desk. It was clear that something was troubling her. Naturally, I immediately called out to her. Excuse me. All hail, Saijo-san. The moment she heard my greeting, Rinka jumped in surprise. She raised her head and looked up at my face.
おはよう。
Her tone sounded uneasy. At a glance, her face was gaunt, her eyes were red and swollen. Yep, I had a feeling. I hesitated for a moment, but decided to ask her what was wrong anyway. Nah. But before I could begin, Rinka stopped me and spoke in a low whisper. She's gonna break up with me, isn't she?
ここでは話せないわ。
Oh.
昼休みになったら屋上で会いましょう。
Yeah. Sensing that this wasn't a request, I simply nodded wordlessly. Too worried about Rinka, I wasn't able to focus during class all morning. After what felt like an eternity, lunchtime arrived at last and I made my way to the rooftop. Oh no.
ずっと連絡できなくてごめんなさい。
What happened? Not only could I not reach you, but you also posted on your social media that you'd be taking a break from streaming.
紡ぐ。私幸せだった。
Huh? What do you...
失って初めて分かった。カリンとして活動していた時間はとても尊いものだったの。それに紡のおかげで短い時間だったけど私は夢を追いかけることができた。私は本当の自分になれたしとても幸せだった。でもね、もう夢を見ていられる時間はおしまいみたい。
Large tears began to spill from her eyes. Rinka.
バーチャルアイドルの活動のことが親にバレてしまったの。
It's only a matter of time. Only a matter of time. Shimata! That's not him talking, that's me. I'm genuinely angry at this. I was right after all. What I'd feared had come to pass. But how?
少し前に進路調査票を提出したでしょ。私そこに今後のことを正直に書いたの。
Okay, yeah, that's what you're supposed to do.
バーチャルアイドルの活動をしていることとか、大きい事務所にスカウトされたこととか。
Uh-huh.
どうやらそれが学園長経由で親の手に渡ったみたいで。
Oh. Oh my god. So not only do we have to be upset with her parents, now we have to be upset with the fucking headmaster.
私の親はこの花学園に毎年多額の寄付をしているから変に気を使われたのかも。
But that favor went and bit you in the ass considerably. That's ridiculous. How could he divulge something that important to your parents without your permission?
大事なことだからこそちゃんと親に伝えておいた方がいいと思ったのかもしれない。
You know, I can kind of see why he would think that, but part of that should have been, you know, obvious to keep from her parents, if you get me.
それに学園長はまさか私が内緒にしているとは思わなかったのかも。
Also true. Also true. Still.
済んだことは仕方ないわよ。これは進路調査票に馬鹿正直に答えてしまった私のミス。
So I'm guessing your parents were against it.
今すぐ全ての活動をやめろって言われたわ。遊んでいる暇があるならもっと勉学に勤しめって。
Oh, I'm gonna love these two. If we ever get to meet them, I'm gonna fucking love them. And by that, I mean, like I said before, regarding, regarding Rina from Fuderaba. If they're anything like her parents, I will absolutely detest them, and it seems I was right.
いい学校に進学して優秀な男と結婚し会社をさらに繁栄させろって言われた。それで配信することを禁じられてスマホもパソコンも全て取り上げられたの。なんとかカリンの SNS には活動休止のお知らせを書き込むことができたんだけど、このままじゃもう引退するしか。
No way, that's... Isn't there any way you can change your parents' minds? Dude. Have you not been listening this entire route? Her parents are... like... Oh, God.
それは無理よ。私の話なんか聞いてくれるわけがないもの。
Of course. Rinka's voice broke as even more tears streamed down her face, and I am pretty close myself. I could hardly stand to watch. It broke my heart.
私はもう諦めるしかないの。
Is that really okay with you, Rinka? Are you Why would you ask that? Of course it's not. Are you really okay with giving up everything? What other choice does she have? If she rebels, that's probably gonna... Well, no, that definitely will make it worse. Are you really gonna give up all the hard work you've put into this just because your parents told you no? I mean, I agree with him wholeheartedly, but what's she gonna do? Of course! Then...
私にとって両親の言うことは絶対だから。病弱だった私をこれまでしっかりと育ててくれた恩もあるし。
Yeah, and they owe it to you to let you do some of the shit that you want to do. You're not their slave. Then what about us? Your parents told you to marry someone respectable and carry on their family business, right? If they told you to split up with me, would you do it? Okay, you're really asking stupid questions here, bro. Would you really break up with me that easily? You're acting like an idiot like you were during the whole thing with Cotting-chan in VR. I'm sorry. I don't want to break up with you, Rinka. What I want is to help you achieve whatever it is you want. That's why... Oh, shit. Clicked a little bit too soon there. I'd like you to let me meet your... Wait. Yeah, I'd like you to let me meet your parents. I want you to let me help you change their minds. Oh, I have a feeling Sumugu's gonna be very persuasive. Please. I have to do this. For your sake. If I don't do anything, I know I'll end up regretting it. Whatever the outcome, it's still 100 times better than standing by and doing nothing. He's right, you know. Maybe Maybe no, not a Why did I automatically think of a parent-teacher conference? I don't know. So that's what happened. That evening, I explained to Eru everything that Rinka had told me. After I finished, her eyes sparkled. Did you explain to her all the stupid questions you asked her? Maybe. I haven't figured that part out yet. I'm open to suggestions, though. Typical visual novel protagonist. What are you gonna do? Well, what was I supposed to do? That was all I could say to cheer her up. Besides, how could I know how to convince Rinka's parents when I've never even met them? He's right, you know. Also true. You're right. See what it has to say. Pulling out the love note from my desk, I wrote down Rinka's name.
西条凛花運命度80
Okay.
説得の手伝いをすること
Yeah.
運命度は変化なしですね。そしてコメントが説得の手伝いをすることですか。
Yeah. I wonder.
説得のヒントは得られませんでしたね。
No, we're back to square one with that. Still, if our fatedness hasn't changed, at the very least, that means I'm not doing the wrong thing, right?
確かにそうです。
Absolutely. That's what it says to me.
つむぐさん、前向きですね。
Now that I've come this far, I just gotta rise to the occasion. Attaboy. I'll find a way to persuade Rinka's parents if it's the last thing I do.
その意気ですよ。
Hoorah!
かりんちゃんのファンとして私からもお願いします。絶対にリンカさんの活動を認めさせてください。
Aren't you forgetting something? In fact, a few things, actually. Yeah, wait, aren't you supposed to be more concerned about a relationship? Chit. Some angel of love you are.
俺のキューピッドがポンコツすぎて怖い。